we can abroad program. You would meet with her or myself, and we're glad to have you join us today.
And I'm Dan O'Brien with the Education Abroad Network. We're a program provider. Nia did our program. We were assisting her with her placement, and thank you all for being here today.
Hi, and my name is Jennie Robinson, and I'm with International Studies Abroad, or ISA for short, and we are actually a sister organization with TEAN, so we collaborate on a lot of programs on the ground. So we'll be here to help answer any extra questions you have, but the main star today is Nia, so I'll turn it over to her.
Okay, guys, so I'm actually going to share my screen. Can everyone see that? Okay, great. So you guys can use that link. Excuse me. I'll actually put it in the chat to make it easier. Let's see. Okay, so if you can use that link to sign in really quickly, and then we can get started. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna start. All right, so welcome you guys. My presentation, sorry, is titled, "Oh no, I can't travel, what should I do?" So basically what I'm gonna be talking to you guys about today is just virtual study abroad and my global remote internship experience that I actually did last summer. So for today, by the end of this session, you should be able to be a little bit more familiar with what study abroad, well, virtual study abroad is, knowing why you should consider it, knowing the different programs that offer virtual study abroad, and knowing what to look for, as well as the benefits that you can learn about those specific programs. Okay, so what is virtual study abroad? So in short, virtual study abroad is actually an online experience that will connect you with international opportunities, as well as infusing your educational experience with a global foundation. So pretty much just like a traditional study abroad experience, you'll be able to kind of like interact with, your instructors that are a part of, well, that live in that foreign country. And even though you aren't necessarily traveling, it still gives you that opportunity to, communicate with someone and other peers from like foreign countries that you probably never would have met before, as well as quote unquote travel to, multiple locations. So, I know a lot of you have already done or at least are part of Zoom University right now. And what I want to stress is just, even though you're going to be virtual and you feel like, oh, well, it's just taking another course with, a specific country in a specific country with different, foreign instructors and stuff like that. I feel like the biggest benefits of it allows you to kind of immerse yourself in that culture, especially with our different program providers, because they all have, different programs set up for you guys. So why exactly should you consider this? So personally, I think that it's like really beneficial because it's cost effective. So this is a really huge reason. Study abroad is actually like notoriously expensive in some cases, depending on where you want to go. And virtual study abroad actually offers a low cost alternative. So in fact, there are some programs that even last summer that were less than $1,000. So for me, I only ended up paying like $850 out of pocket for my program, thanks to TEAN with my my merit scholarship. Plus, you won't even have to factor in like flights and the cost of living expenses since you aren't actually traveling to a foreign city into your budget. It's also very flexible. So for those of you that have a packed academic schedule or you need to balance that with school, with work, virtual study abroad also offers that flexibility in order for you to maintain your day-to-day schedule while also getting to build that international network. It's also really fun. So you get to meet new people, just like I did for my internship. You immerse yourself in a new routine, as well as a new culture, as well as learning about a new location that you probably didn't know about before. So what's not to love about that? Plus, you'll also get to learn important cultural competencies that will actually make your resume and transcripts stand out to employers. So that's also something that's really important. So a lot of students don't really get to experience study abroad in their undergrad years, and a lot of them kind of regret it, but it's also because they probably didn't know much about that. So thank God for the Sharks Abroad office. But it's definitely it makes you much more competitive in the professional world, because it shows employers that, you're very open to new experiences and that you're really good with communicating with other people. Okay, so another thing is that it's also the gateway to other adventures. So studying abroad online is actually a great way to kind of get your feet wet into that, new world of travel, so that before you actually travel to actually new big city or go on an international trip, you'll learn how to communicate with people from different languages and backgrounds, which can actually help prepare you for when you do decide to go overseas in the future. It's also really accessible. So the reality of that is that study abroad is not accessible to everyone because of like that whole financial situation that I talked about, or at least that financial barrier. But for reasons like, like I just said, the cost barrier, your home institution might not offer that or support study abroad. Luckily, we do here at Nova. Or your passport doesn't necessarily allow you, or your passport doesn't allow you to have the means to travel to certain countries, and they might be off the table. It's also possible that study abroad may not be in the cards for everyone, but virtual study abroad actually helps you to break down some of those barriers, making the experiences accessible to anyone, anywhere. Slide. Okay, so what should you look for in a virtual study abroad program? So definitely you want to find courses that fit your interests, because if you're going to be, well, at least commit to something like that, you definitely want to be interested in what you're going to take. So for example, like a real world application should always be the goal of your study abroad education, and a good virtual study abroad program will take you far beyond a textbook. So that is definitely the case when you consider the different study abroad partners that we do have here at Nova. All of them are different, none are the same. So they're all unique in that way. As I talked about, like flexibility and accessibility earlier. So through that interactive online education, you will actually gain a more valuable remote experience working working at home, as well as improving those communication skills, because we know Zoom can be a little bit intimidating and sometimes a little bit awkward, but that will definitely help you to kind of, well, at least push you in that direction to kind of talk to people more, especially from like a whole nother country. Through that coursework, you can actually learn time management, which is really big because we tend to sit and use our computers and do Zoom a lot. So knowing how to be effective with your time management and be a little bit more on schedule is really important, which is something that I also learned. And then there's also other soft skills that will not only benefit your studies at home, but it can also be attractive on a resume, like I mentioned before. So connection and immersion. So one of the most valuable aspects of studying abroad or doing virtual study abroad is building relationships. So by actively engaging in networking on platforms or forums, whether it's Zoom, Google Meet, Google Hangout, whatever the case may be, you can actively engage in networking. And then also learn about people that share the same passions as you. So you never really know until you try and you kind of put yourself out there. So you'll actually be able to work through real world challenges and engage in discussion and be creative and be in a more collaborative environment. And last but not least, the price and the value. So Virtual study abroad actually breaks down those financial barriers, like I mentioned before. And because they usually often prevent students from participating in traditional study abroad programs, because students always ask, well, I might not have financial aid. Do they have scholarships? Where can I get grants? And virtual study abroad really makes this accessible to anyone. So after exploring your options virtually, you can actually experience that field early on in your student career and refine the path that you're willing to go forward with. Okay, so these are just some examples of some programs that offer virtual study abroad and internship opportunities. So one of our partners, AIFS, actually partnered with Global Experiences for the virtuoso experience. And basically, these two programs joined forces to provide a more comprehensive virtual option and internship experience overseas. So you can actually get the full package by taking 3 academic courses and professional development through career coaching and personal advising. You can also take classes and intern in over 15 countries. So they have all those different options. So their start dates are flexible. The fees start at like $5,500 for the entire semester. And for GO, so Global Education Oregon, they have this new thing called hashtag no passport, since you don't actually travel, and hashtag no visa. And this is actually what stood out to me with this is that you actually get to be with a host family. So if you don't know what a host family is, kind of think about being a foreign exchange student, and you kind of go away and you stay with a family and they kind of cook for you. So you don't really have to pay the cost of meals while you're there. So it definitely saves you money. Instead, you virtually stay with a host family with this program, and you get immersed linguistically. Because if you say you plan on strengthening your Spanish skills, this is also a really good program for you. So let's say, for example, at mornings, you'll chat with Spaniards, and at nights, you'll converse with a Latin American host family over dinner, and kind of immerse yourself through that traditional travel or virtual travel. Their tuition varies, but some of those experiences are as little as $1,000. One of our other program partners, CIEE, has a hybrid model. So I know a lot of you guys are familiar with that as well. So they have global remote internship placements that actually match a student's educational background and career goals, which is pretty similar to TEAN's global remote internship experience. For them, for CIEE, they do have 6 credits internship courses that offer professional, cultural, academic, and personal development. It was previously on their website, but it's also now available online and in person. They do offer students the opportunity to do this in 12 cities, not at the same time necessarily, but definitely like those options are available. And there's also 10 countries that are shared online. There's academic framework. And then they just allow you to build a truly global cohort overall. And then it says coursework delivery is in a flipped format. So what this means is that students watch pre-recorded lectures, and then they do assigned readings and respond asynchronously to discussion prompts. And there's also weekly theme navigating cultures, resilience, and interpersonal engagement. So like I said before, all programs vary. It's really just up to you and what you like and what you want to do. So it's really up to the student. So the overall benefits. So there's global remote internship opportunities. So if you don't necessarily want to do an internship, you can still take courses online, and it's so much cheaper, like so much cheaper. So if you decide to do like a semester, a career semester routine, if you decide to take, regular courses with, another program like ISA or something like that, I mean, it's really up to you. You can do that for a semester, you can do it for 6 weeks, you can do it for 8 weeks, you can maybe do it for 16, depending on the program that you decide to go with. You also get course credits. So I ended up getting a total of 6 credits for just 8 weeks. and only paid $850, which is a really, really big deal. At Nova, you know, if you take a summer course, one summer course can go up to maybe like $3,000 for like 3 credits. So it's definitely worth considering. There's also career development, so they don't just leave you out there in the cold. They definitely guide you and try to prepare you for the professional world. You do gain professional experience, and it definitely enables students to fit learning into different time zones and busy schedules. This one is a little bit more personal to me because I did intern with an organization in Seoul, South Korea, and they're 13 hours ahead of, well, yeah, ahead of me. And that was definitely an adjustment for 30 hours a week. So that's also something that I guess makes you really experienced in that field because you're adaptable. I feel like is the best word. And then you also get to network. So really building those relationships and, you know, making a good impression is always really important. Okay, so we're moving or at least switching into that whole personal experience for me. So like I said before, so the NGO I worked with originally, their name was Teaching North Korean Refugees, or TNKR. They're kind of going through a bit of an identity crisis, and they switched over to FSI. So it's called Freedom Speakers International now. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what they stand for and what they do in the next slide, but mainly what this is about is just my personal project that I did. I originally was just a research and development intern for them. So I did a bunch of research about like North Korean refugees, and empowering them and helping them to speak English or finding different resources and stuff like that. And these are just flyers from my project that I did. So it's pretty much the same thing, but it was titled The Lives of North Korean Women. So it talked about the struggles that North Korean women refugees face, and kind of like supporting, well, it acted as a way to, I can say, support or raise money for one of their projects that was catered to those North Korean women refugees. So it was very successful. It was really good. I incorporated like a raffle and a trivia to kind of give the audience, you know, prizes instead of them just coming to like a talk. We had a featured guest speaker who actually works at TNKR and is a North Korean defector, called Ani Park. And then I was also joined by another TNKR intern. And then I have my 2 supervisors, Angu Lee and Casey Lateef Jr. Okay, so Freedom Speakers International, formerly known as TNKR, is a nonprofit organization in Seoul, South Korea. I forgot that empowers North Korean refugees to find their own voice and path through education, advocacy, and support. So they kind of shifted their whole mission in a sense, because originally as teaching North Korean refugees, they promoted more teaching them English in order to give them confidence and kind of assimilate into a new society, even like in a South Korean society to have more opportunities. But now they're trying to focus more on teaching them English, but more of in a professional speaking way so that they can tell their stories and write books and share that with the world, which is also really cool. So on the left here, I do have a flyer of an International Freedom Forum conference that's happening on Saturday, April 3rd, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I put this in here just recently because I felt like it was important to note that because I did what I did and I, you know, took that initiative to create my own project and help them, this is something good that kind of came out of that experience, to the point where, you know, my supervisors followed up with me and asked me to be a guest speaker for their program. So it's a big honor for me. And I'm gonna be talking and guest speaking with a few other college students that intern at TNKR, well, FSI. And then also I'll be joined with a bunch of other really prominent North Korean refugee women, such as Yeonmi Park. She's a human rights activist. She's very popular. So for me, it's just an example of the mark you can make. So you can definitely do it. So if you decide to do an internship, take a course, networking and communicating and really getting to know the people around you is really important, because it's not just about going and doing an internship and yeah, I did an internship and I put it on my resume. It's about really making or creating that space for yourself so that, it'll definitely take you places, but whatever your passion is, make sure that you stay true to that and you follow through with it. Okay, so I just kind of put a little quote in here because I just thought it was really nice. I felt like it resonated with me a lot. So it says, a mind that is stretched by a new experience can never go back to its old dimensions. So based on my global remote internship that I did with TEAN, I feel like this definitely speaks to my whole experience, because I don't think I'm not the same person that I was before I did the internship. And it's opened my mind and my life up to so many new possibilities, because I'm now a Sharks Abroad peer advisor, and I wouldn't be here talking to you guys today if I didn't do that. So it's really just a great way for you to really get yourself out there. Don't be afraid, definitely listen to your conscience. If it's telling you to do it and you feel like it's the right thing, definitely go ahead and do that. But this is the end of the presentation. One thing to note is that our deadline, we actually extended it for our virtual abroad application. So that's going to be on May 1st. I think, yeah, Sarah sent an email out about that. And if you never scheduled an appointment with us before, you can do that on our website. So nova.edu/sharksabroad. And if you want to make an appointment for the remainder of the semester with any Sharks Abroad peer advisor, whether it be me or my coworker Cassidy, you can do so using that Calendly link. Follow us on Instagram. And then we also have a YouTube that we have like experiences about different Sharks Abroad peer advisors and alumni. So that's also up there. And it's Sharks Abroad. But that's pretty much everything that I have for you guys today. And yeah.
Thank you, Nia.
Thank you.
Yeah. I didn't know we have some time if we wanted to give Dan or Jennie a little bit of time to speak and then kind of open it up for a general Q&A at the end. But it was a very thorough presentation, Nia. That was great.
Thank you.
And for everyone in attendance too, this is recorded, so we can send it out afterwards.
Yeah, thank you, Tronaya. Everyone, this is Dan O'Brien, and I work with TEAN, the Education Abroad Network. Nia, I just want to say that was one of the best presentations that I've seen and heard in a long time. Your passion really comes out, and it's very natural for you. I know you put a lot of work into presenting this, and you just did a really fantastic job outlining the benefits. And I think the biggest takeaway that I am leaving with today is that this virtual / remote learning or internships really is for any student, just about from any major. Nia's experience is unique in the sense that this was a South Korean organization working with North Korean refugees. But at TEAN, just like at ISA, there's really a program for just about any destination, whether it be in Australia, and I like to say Zimbabwe. But really my point is that you could really go almost anywhere in the world for either a study abroad or an internship. We're going to be sending students to countries sooner rather than later. We've just been through a full year plus of the pandemic. We're now seeing students start to have international experiences, but we know the remote learning is going to be here for a while. So without stealing any of Nia's thunder, I just want to comment from a TEAN's perspective that for remote learning, we do have some options this summer that are available. One's in Shanghai, and the other one is in South Korea at Korea University. So these are remote learning experiences where you are taking a course or 2 or 3 via the computer. And as Nia can attest, there's some challenges there with that sometimes, but ultimately these experiences, as Nia explained, really do help create some really interesting skills that you may not think you need now, but ultimately in life and in work you will need, and that's flexibility, adaptability, commitment to time zones, etc. So I just want to say that we do have some learning abroad opportunities that are remote, and Nia and Sarah can help get you information. I'll also say that with internships, there's a few opportunities to do remote placements as well. So our organization at TEAN will work with you individually and learn about your interest and talk to you about the opportunities we have, whether they be individual placements or sometimes we can put you in group teams. But ultimately, these are international experiences, and you're working with cohorts of, well, Australians or South Koreans or Vietnamese or Spain or Italy, wherever it is you are going to be in the world. I do want to hear the student questions because maybe some more information will come out, but I think Jennie would probably like to say a word or two about some of the opportunities that I haven't mentioned that they can offer for students.
Sure. I mean, really quickly, just building off of everything Dan said, that yes, there are intern and study abroad options available for pretty much all majors. The global remote internship, similar to what Nia talked about, really is a broad offering. So even if you think that your major is super niche, it's okay. You can reach out to the study abroad office or companies like TEAN and ISA just to have that conversation and see if there is a good placement that'll help you develop professional skills that will be helpful for you later after graduation. So don't think that there's not an opportunity for you. More than likely there is. It's just initiating that conversation. But yes, like Dan said, let's open the space for any questions that you might have.
What are the classes that are being offered this summer?
Sorry, could you repeat that, lady?
What are the classes being offered this summer virtually?
I think she's asking, oh, did you hear what she said?
I did. So I can talk to you about like the South Korea program is one that we would have available to you. Essentially, Korean language would be offered in English. Korean language would be offered in Korean, of course, but then you'll have an opportunity to choose from a range of subjects in English, and they could be out of the business area, so finance, accounting, marketing, communications and media, so think like creative writing or personal writing. Lots of opportunities in the humanities like sociology and psychology and history and criminal justice, etc. So there's many subject areas available in English in addition to the language subject of Korean language in this example. And pretty much the same thing applies to our program in China. So it would be Mandarin language, Chinese, but Mandarin specifically. And then, a dozen or more courses offered in English. Same thing, humanities, social sciences, business, etc.
And similarly, ISA, right now we have remote learning programs offered through universities in Costa Rica, Spain, and Italy. So there really is a broad offering of opportunities. I always recommend, of course, meeting with the study abroad office, but then on our respective websites, you can actually click on the program and look at the course list that's being offered. So for Spain and Costa Rica, for example, there's a lot of courses for like international studies majors, of course, Spanish language classes, and like business, marketing, and communications. And then the program in Italy, again, offers a lot of good classes for communications major, marketing and business. And then that particular university also offers some experiential learning classes where you actually work on an internship style project while focusing on a content area like business or marketing. So the answer is pretty broad, but the first step would be touching base with the study abroad office, and they can probably point you in the right direction.
Lady, was there a specific course or subject area that you're looking for?
I was going to see if there was like any math courses or science related courses. Can you hear me?
I can. Yes, I'm just pulling up my the course list here. I wanted to make sure I'm giving you the correct information. So in South Korea, there'll be some biology, computer science, mathematics, physics, and stats. I have to go out and request the specific syllabi for those areas of study, but that gives you just a general idea of the of subject content. And what I'll do is I'll drop my name and email into the chat here in just a moment. And then if you'd like, you can reach out with some specific courses you may be seeking, but clearly work with Sarah and Nia there at Nova to make sure that you're following any guidelines or processes, deadlines, that sort of thing. In China, we'll have not as many offerings in the traditional sciences, but there's like a material science course. There's health services science and from a Chinese perspective. And that's pretty much going to be it there in terms of China. Now, how about you, Jenny, for your offerings?
Yeah, or is this specifically for, I would say for math and STEM, I don't think there's a lot being offered in Spain, Costa Rica, or Italy, but I did see someone in the chat asked about psychology, and I do see that there are some psychology courses offered through those programs. So definitely, follow up with the study abroad office. I could drop a couple links in the chat to some programs that might be worth looking at, but definitely touch base with them, and we might be able to filter out some programs that have a good course match for you.
I was wondering, because I was planning on going to Spain this past semester. I talked to one of the representatives from Spain, and he told me because I could speak the language, it was like there was like a more variety of courses offered to me, and I could take like, let's say, more STEM classes that maybe that they are not offered in English. I could take in Spanish. I was wondering like if those courses are offered online as well.
That's a great question. Honestly, I think as far as I know right now, the programs that we have been created specifically for American students looking for an international experience, whether that's studying or interning. I know that students that have done our internship programs with companies in Spanish-speaking countries have had the option to just do everything in Spanish. As far as taking courses in the host country language, that's a question I haven't heard before, actually. Could look into it and let you know, but as far as what's listed on the website, right now it's just courses in English.
Thank you.
Of course.
Oh, okay, so I know that TEAN and ISA had a new like update. So I think TEAN, you guys now just focus more on Asia and the Pacific now. And then ISA does like Latin America, stuff like that. So it's kind of like a half and half now, right? I think that was a new.
Yeah, that's right. TEAN has been around for 25 years, and we've pretty much exclusively stayed within the South Pacific and Asia. It's that's been our study abroad international internship space. But recently, ISA and International Studies Abroad and TEAN, the Education Abroad Network, have sort of joined forces, and ISA is going to be, focusing all of their knowledge, reputation, and expertise in some of the programming locations that they had when they originally started almost 30 plus years ago. So I think the field is shifting more towards regional experts. And so we've just realigning some of our staffing and some administrative stuff. So, TEAN basically is working exclusively with South Pacific and Asia programs. And then our sister organization, Jennie's organization, will be doing their great work through Spain and other Western European locations, Central and South America, Africa, etc.
And the great news is if, you start the conversation with one of us and need some information on one of those other countries, it's no problem at all. We're working behind the scenes to get you all the information you need. So feel free to start wherever resonates with you the most, and then we'll get you pointed in the right direction.
Are there any more questions? Do you guys want to know anything, more about my experience, anything financial related, anything like that? Let me see. No? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. I have recorded this presentation finally, so I can definitely send that to you guys if you need that. Yeah, and Jennie said she'll drop a link here for her ISA programs if you guys want to do that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. It was great.
We'll send out a follow-up email to everyone, and we can include the links that Dan and Jennie have been sharing in there, as well as their contact information. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dan and Jennie, for joining us. And as thank you, the biggest thank you goes to Trinaya. Thank you for presenting this. And all the students, please reach out to our office, and we're happy to help make this happen if it's what you're interested in. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Great job, Nia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.